Welcome back to another reaction for Jaadugar, a witch in Mongolia, episode 6. Okay, we are jumping back in time. Not what I expected to happen, quite honestly. Oh, right, we get the backstory of Our Lady. Right. We know she met them very early on. So she's under their control for like 20 plus years? Fuck me.
何をなさってるんですか？お支度の時間ですよ。行くわ。さようなら、ナイマン。
They also look like a nomad tribe. Are they different to the Mongols?
ここよりずっと西の国。
Naiman.
ナイマン族の縁者だった私は、同盟関係にあるメルキト族のもとに嫁ぐことが決まっていた。メルキト族って
Nation far to the west of here. I was to marry into the Merkit.
にあるメルキト族のもとに嫁ぐことが決まっていた。
Political alliance, I get it, okay.
メルキト族ってどんな人たちなのかしら。北の森に住んでいて、メルゲンと呼ばれる弓の名手が多いそうよ。
Right, the Mergen, they mention that.
メルゲンの民だからメルキトなんだとか。要するに野蛮な狩人ね。まあいい。
I mean, that is not really what they said, but sure.
私は高価な贈り物、貴重な宝石や。
Okay. I totally forgot. How old is she? Because I was like, okay, maybe she's a child. And maybe she is. But here, you see a child on the right. And she clearly is not. So she's at least, I don't know, 14, 15, 16, 18? I'm assuming like 15, 16, if I had to guess. Which is 25 years ago.
私は高価な贈り物、貴重な宝石や美しい毛皮と同じ。それでいい。それが私の誇りだもの。
Mm-hmm. A different group of nomads. I'm assuming nomads because of the yurt and stuff.
ここがメルキト族の思った以上に寂しいところね。男の人が少ない。
どれげね。よく来たね。
Merkit tribe chieftain Jaadugar. Okay.
大した歓迎もできず悪いな。
Oh. I'm assuming I would have to guess what kind of language that is. I would be wrong, whatever I would decide. It is interesting though. Because I feel like part of it, because it has some very a lot of curves, and it feels very, I don't mean it in a bad way, like snaky, but it like slithering or something like that, which reminds me of like Indian, the how they write. Very, I don't know the right adjective, but it's a very, very wavy. Let's call it wavy, sure. But it also has like parts of something more, which I would consider like Eastern, like Chinese, maybe. It's a little bit weird. I mean, not the top right and stuff, that clearly not, but the middle ones look more like a mix of like kanji or the Chinese alphabet and maybe like Indian.
旦那がこんなじじいで驚いたかい？
いえ、
Learning that your husband is so senile. You are the
い
husband?
え。まあいいわ。年の差なんて珍しい話でもないし。けれど夫婦になったダイルは私に全く近づこうとしなかった。
He probably doesn't even know you are married to him. He already forgot. Also, she did mention a lot of women here. Either the men are all out. I mean, she did say they're like a hunting tribe. Maybe they're all out hunting. Maybe they all went out to war. Maybe they all died. Or he's just alone and he's like, I'm going to get a bunch of women somehow.
それどころか。今日もお出かけですか？
留守ばっかですまねえな。
それにもう家ってまだここに来たばかりですよ。同じところに長くいられないの。早く行ってやってください。何かあったら言ってね。はい。奥様、これどうなさいます？ああ、それはね。他の部族ってこんな短い間に移動し続けるの？いいえ、何か変だわ。
So I'm guessing they are running away, yeah. They probably from the Mongols. You know she got caught by the Mongols. And I'm assuming that is also why there are so little men here, because most of them died.
まるで何かから逃げ回ってるみたい。まあ、私が考えても仕方ないか。私は宝石でいればいいのよ。宝石がものを考えたところで何になるの？ナイマンに帰りたい。
Yeah, I mean, there's no real use in the marriage. It's really only, hey, she's essentially just a token that she's here. Maybe she was also not supposed to marry him, but someone else, but he died.
私なんかいなくなったって誰も気がつきやしないんだわ。ダイル様だって他の人たちだって。待って、そこを動かないで。危なかった。怪我はない？さすがメルゲンね、クルトガン。
別に普通だし。
あら、あなたドレゲネさんね。私の新しいお母様。私クラン、ダイルの娘。
Interesting way to, I guess this is a more intimate way of saying hello. It looks more like a hug. It looks a little bit more like a hug. You know, it's like a hug plus.
私クラン、ダイルの娘よ。
クルトガンです。
クランはダイルの、クルトガンは別の族長の子供だった。見て、この川はもっと下流でカラ川とダル川に分かれるのよ。でね、もっともっと流れていくとセレンゲ川に流れ込むの。私もクルトガンもそこで生まれたのよ。へえ。じゃあもっとずっと先、川の最後はどうなってるか知ってる？北の空に動かない星があるでしょ。その下には大きな大きな穴があって、世界中の川はみんなそこに流れ込むのよ。わあ、知らなかったわ。
自分じゃ見たことないくせに。
もう、ルトが
It is interesting how these kinds of beliefs started, but never were questioned. Because the question nowadays would be, okay, where's the water coming from? How it all goes down the hole, is the hole coming out the other side and the water comes down from there, or?
そうなの？
俺たちには精霊と話せるカムの力がないからね。
お父様はカムでね、何度も川の果てに行ったことがあるんだって。魂が鳥になって飛んでいくのよ。カム。私にもカムの力があればよかったのに。それか、もっと弓がうまかったら。
Here's the problem. They give us these new characters, and it's like, oh, she's cute, she wants to be more helpful, she's very positive. They are dead. They're going to die, right? We don't need to illusion ourselves here. They are dead. It would also explain if she grows closer to them because she is like a new mom to her, and maybe she's going to connect with her more, and then she gets killed in the raid of the Mongols. It would explain why she would hate them so much.
確かにひどいもんな。
何よ、うるさいわね。
自分で言ったんだろ。
何よ。
なんだよ。
笑った。ごめんなさい。
I also like that her clothes are oversized. Is that maybe? I mean, I just now see that also of our girls. The top is oversized. Is that normal? Is that how do they like it to be? Interesting. Did not really pay attention to that. Maybe to hide their hands? Maybe that is something they do? Hide more of their body because that is what they assume or they want women to do?
私の中で何かが変わったの。周りの景色一つ一つが心の中に飛び込んでくるみたいだった。
They're so dead.
おかしさや喜びを感じた。不満や悲しみを感じた。
Yeah, this is not good.
私はここでの日常を。
It may also be that he is impotent. Because he's pretty old. Maybe it doesn't work anymore.
愛するようになった。そして初めて理解したの。
みんな起きろ！火を落とせ！すぐ逃げるんだ！
どうしたの？
賊将たちの軍が突破された！奴らがここまで来る！
林の中へ。
クラン、ドレギレさん、こっち！
どのくらい奪われた？
クドゥの家族がいない。チラウンの妻たちも。
ドレゲネ。お父様。怖かったろう。よくクランを守ってくれたな。
守られたのは私の方です。一体何が？
やっぱりナイマンで何も知らされてなかったんだな。無理もねえか、こんな話。俺たちには敵がいる。モンゴル族のテムジン。今はチンギスカンと呼ばれてる男だ。
Now, granted, Genghis Khan was like the enemy of all or most of the world at that point. At least the ones that knew about him.
ジンギスカン。
俺たちメルキト族とモンゴル族は昔から小競り合いが絶えなくてな。奴らには家族や財産を散々奪われたし、俺たちも同じぐらい奪ってきた。ところがあのテムジンが長になって草原の均衡が崩れたんだ。あんたがナイマンからこんなジジイのとこによこされたのも対モンゴル同盟のためだったんだよ。でももう限界かもしれねえな。
The problem is you are not really close to one another. So even though you have an alliance, you don't necessarily fight together. But it is interesting that they were long-term rivals with the Mongols. They probably were better in archery, but the Mongols... I wonder why the balance shifted with Genghis Khan. Was there a big reason? Was he like going somewhere else, replenishing troops, getting more people or something like that? What exactly gave them the one-up to be able to defeat them now?
ねえ兄さん、モンゴルに負けたら俺たちどうなる？
決まってるだろ。男は皆殺し、女や子供は奴らのものだ。
怖い。俺まだ死にたくない。
バカ！メルキトの男が情けねえ。
I mean, it feels like you have lost. Now you could try one last time to fight them off and lose everything. Or I would just try to go as far away as possible with everyone. To somewhere where they may not reach, maybe a different country. I don't know.
ウス
ウスン。流れる川。大地からいただいたカムとしてのお父様の称号よ。
いいか、終わるまで誰も立ち入っちゃなんねえよ。精霊に俺たちの未来を問うてくる。精霊よ、天へ連れて行ってくれ。我々の未来を教えてくれ。
To be honest, I assumed he would die. First I thought he may just fall off the cliff. Then I thought maybe he would get hit by an arrow. But no. Okay.
クランいるか。
We go to the north?
ここにいます、お父様。
豊かな草原が見えた。川がいくつも分かれて流れていた。そしてその川を遡ると天にも届きそうな高い山に清らかな源流があった。川は血脈、草原の民モンゴルの血が広がっていくという意味だ。
じゃあ
俺たちはモンゴルに負ける。
それじゃあ、
Hmm.
俺たち
Interesting. I thought he would take it more positively, but okay. Interesting read.
じゃあみんな殺されるんですか？
いや、そんなことはさせねえ。精霊はこう言ってるんだ。モンゴルへ下ってもメルキトの血は続くと。
しかしジンギスカンは俺たちを許すでしょうか？
もちろんそれには相応のものを差し出して詫びるしかねえ。清らかな源流、俺の娘をチンギスカンに捧げる。クラン。
クランを犠牲にするなんて絶対ダメ。この子は心ある人間よ。宝石や毛皮じゃないのよ。
Hmm?
私とは違うのよ。トレゲネ、ありがとう。大丈夫よ。クラン。お父様、クランは嬉しいです。今まで守られるばかりの女の身が悔しかった。でも今度は私がみんなを守る矢となりましょう。
お前。
メルキト族は弓の名手。メルゲンの民の娘が狼を仕留めてご覧に入れます。
Mm. This is not going to go the way they thought, right? My first impression was, okay, this is going to sound really fucked up. My assumption would be they send her there, she gets killed, and the Mongols send back her head as a message. I know, but it is clearly not going to work. It is not enough of a tribute, I assume, I guess.
こうして私たちはモンゴルに下った。クランはモンゴルとメルキトの間に連なる長い長い憎しみの連鎖を断ち切ってメルキト人たちの命を救ったの。
I stand corrected. However, where is she? Why is our girl as a wife? Why is she not as a wife? Or is she maybe one of the wives? I have forgotten. Also, where are the Merkit people?
一方クルトガンたち別のメルキトの氏族はあくまでモンゴルに抵抗する道を選び西へ逃れていった。
みんな集まったな。
どうしたのです、急に。
若い女ばかり。
あなたが大ルースンか。我々は漢の第三王子オゴタイ様に仕えているものだ。今は軍の後方で待機し補給を担っている。
そうかい、なら安心だ。この女たちを頼むよ。
タイル様。
お前たちの身はモンゴルの身分ある方々に引き取ってもらう。
そんな。
トレゲね。みんな聞きなさい。モンゴルが許してくれたのはあくまで命だけだ。今までの争いまで水に流したわけじゃねえ。俺たちは奴隷の身に落ちるだろう。だがお前たちは違う。お前たち女の人生はこれからだ。ここで幸せにおなり。
I mean, again, I don't really know how they treat slaves because our girl didn't have too bad of a time. But it's, I mean, as a village elder, you want to do the best for your people. So if he can, give them the best possible life. Because the alternative was fight against the Mongols, most likely die, and then they do whatever they want. Or flee with the rest, which is only going to prolong the until you are caught in the end, because you saw the Mongol Empire taking all the plains. You would have to flee off the plains somehow, which is going to be hard because the Mongols are on horses and they're pretty fast. So even though this feels a little bit weird, this may be the best arrangement that he could have done for them.
なああんたちゃんと王子や官に伝えるんだぜ。この女たちはメルキトとはもう無関係。この先もずっとな。
心得た。
He seems to have enough pressure to put him in his place, which is surprising because, again, he shouldn't be able to do this.
どれげね手を出しな。
The stone?
邪大石、嵐を呼ぶ石だ。
I thought she is upset about the stone because she wanted to use it to call forth a storm to hinder the Mongols at some point. But it's a more emotional part. Which is also interesting because, you know, he never really cared. There was never really a husband-wife situation going on, but it seems like that over the time she grew close enough to him and his family to care immensely about the
こ
gift.
んなものしかやれねえが選別だよ。あんたがうちに来てくれて楽しかった。じゃあな、笑っていきなさい。
その日の夜はひどく静かだった。
馬もせ早く了解。
燃えているような血のようなあんな不気味な空は見たことがなかった。
何が起きたんすか？反乱だ。捕虜兵が山に立てこもりやがった。すでに大御台様の軍が討伐に向かっている。くそ、大ルースめ。これだからメルキト族は信用できん。おい、待て！
そうよ、モンゴルが彼らを許しても彼らはモンゴルを許してなんかいなかったの。
俺たちは森の狩人だ。羊飼いどもの奴隷にはならねえ。ここで幸せにおなり。
じゃああの言葉も嘘。いいえ、きっと全部彼の本心だった。だからこそ私に何も教えてくれなかったんだわ。
So the man decided to go out on their own terms, understandable, instead of becoming slaves. Now it would probably, however, hurt all the relationship between the woman and the Mongols as well. Even though he was like, oh, these are not Merkit people anymore. They may take their revenge on the woman. However, it also shows how strong they are, with only a handful of people being able to defeat so many Mongols. It's pretty impressive.
でもね、ダイル様は一つ大きな見落としをしていた。あの方が思うよりずっと私はあの方を。
ああ、そうか。カムの魂は天に昇れるんだった。体に穴を開けちゃ取り逃がすわけだ。赤い川のようだね。君は
貴様、なぜここにいる？
反乱はあっけなく鎮圧された。クルトガンたちも殺されてしまったって後になって聞いたわ。
I mean, you can't really run away that much on a steppe with no horses.
そしてチンギス・カンが帰還した時、反乱のことはクランの耳にも届いた。あの子はそれを聞いた時、
愚かな父の招いた当然の報いです。カンのご意向は何人にも傷つけられません。
クラン、あなたはあの時どうして笑っていられたの？
I mean, what is she supposed to do? Die?
その
And it may also be that her dad told her to, to do that essentially.
後、私は大ごたいに嫁ぎ生かされた。
Right. I was like, where's the girl? Because she's the wife of the Khan, or one of the wives.
彼の子供も産んだわ。過ぎていく日々は穏やかだった。けれど私はずっとこの帝国をめちゃくちゃにするような嵐を待っているの。さっき助けたのはあなたが笑っていたからよ。あの時のクランと似ていたの。今ならもうわかる。本当はどれほど悲しくて悔しかったかしれない。けれどあの子は自分の役割をちゃんと知っていたんだわ。あの時誰よりも私がそれを分かってあげるべきだったのに。
I do wonder what happened to her. Because it's not too long ago. Also, we know that Our Lady, that she had the same problem as our main character. That she wants to take revenge, but over the years, that fire is slowly dying down.
それで、あなた本当は誰？
私は。
まあいいわ。あなたが誰であろうとどうぞ。
それ国谷様がおっしゃいました。トルイ様と大官、軍事力と権威のねじれはきっと不幸の種になると。つまり今この国はかつてなく脆い。
あなた。
私の名はシタラ、奴隷です。お仕えしていた奥様をモンゴル軍に殺され、あの方の大切な本も奪われました。
Now that you put it out like this, we are mostly holding on just because of the book. Without the book, she probably would be a little bit less. She would have less of a goal to follow.
本を取り戻すことが私にできる最後の務めだと。けれど、むやみに抵抗すれば、また不幸が起こるかもと。それが恐ろしくて、今日まで漫然と生きてまいりました。
Okay, good explanation. Blind resistance could cause further tragedy, which is correct. So she didn't know what to do. That is why she didn't act in those 8 years. Which again, true. Now, however, we have 2 people.
参りましたが、きっと私もこの時を待っていたのです。
しかし、私たちに何ができると？
知恵がございます。私があなた様の新たな邪大師となりましょう。どうか力をお貸しください。
The new Jada Stone. You mean someone who is going to bring forth the storm?
二人でなら嵐も起こせましょう。
Okay. Which is interesting because if you look at it that way, these 6 episodes essentially were the prologue. We are now at the starting point. We have now 2 allies. We have a goal. Destroy the Mongol Empire somehow. It is going to be interesting how. Now, the good part is that Our Lady, she probably has a lot of potential power. And our main character has a lot of knowledge. How they are going to use it, I don't know. I have no idea. But they are clearly going to be quite the trouble for the Khan. So most of this episode was just our lady following her. I was totally wrong. The daughter was able to survive until the end. I guess she died from old age, maybe something else. Very good episode. Really liked it. Really enjoyable seeing her, coming into this new, to the markets, being like, I don't know, slowly but surely falling in love with everyone. Which is very similar to our main character, right? I'm so bad with names. What was it? Solids? Sitara, sorry. Because Sitara had the same situation at the beginning. She was a slave, her parents died, she went into this new family, and slowly but surely she fell in love with the family and was a part of it. To then to then have it all destroyed by the Mongol Empire. So there are some parallels. Nice. I'm really interested to see what they are really planning to do. How are they trying to destroy the Mongol Empire? I'm assuming it is to just get the two brothers and put them against one another. But how? This will be the question.